Today's show is brought to us and you by DraftKings Sportsbook, baby. Only the top-rated sportsbook and app in all of North America. Safe, secure, reliable. We love all of that, baby. And I think you should as well. And that's the reason why we come bearing gifts. Promo code. Shout out to the promo code. It is MOATS. Simple concept. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You make that first deposit bet, or you put that first initial deposit of $5 in, and you will receive up to $200 in bonus bets when you use that promo code. All right, it's a dope concept, man, and they got a ton of cool offers that are currently going on that you might get a chance to reuse some of those winnings potentially to make some more money. All right, but with that being the case, we also know that at times, man, you can get lost in the sauce. It can be a lot up on you, and you might develop a gambling problem. Well, if you're living in New York, it's a number that you can text. But for everybody else, the digits to dial are 1-800-GAMBLER.
Can you tell us about like your draft story? What was going on there? Because we initially passed on you in the first round. You had to have been a little bit pissed about that, but then we come back around and get you in the second. Could you just take us through those emotions, first round, and then you have that whole day of sitting there. Second round, we have the first pick. Like, everyone's talking about taking you. It's like the most obvious. We need a cornerback. You're Joey Porter's son. Let's just make you the first pick in the second round. But what's going on with you throughout this whole time?
So for a guy going through the process, you got a lot of scouts and analysts and even coaches telling you, like, where you're projected. So throughout the whole process, I was projected mid to late first round guy, like a for sure first round pick. Throughout the whole process, they got me at the draft. I'm in my suit and everything like that. So, you go to the draft and you get your sweet numbers where you think you're going to get picked. And once those numbers start coming in and you see just everybody in the table, everybody from different families looking around just waiting for that call, and you're not getting that call, you start getting like a little antsy, like a little bit nervous. Through that process, it was a weird moment because I was just going through a lot of emotions just off of I have all my family here, like they all came down to see me, and I didn't get to walk the stage. I feel like that was the biggest disappointment in that whole the whole process. Was I had a lot of family come out and they didn't get to see me do what I wanted to do, but I feel like it overall turned out in the right spot because I was the 32nd pick. Contract wise, it's a better fit for me. I get to be back home, and it just really fell in my lap. But I think because just the whole situation where I was like, the Steelers are definitely not getting me. I didn't have no trust in them at all, so it was a shock to me when I got the call. it was definitely a shock to me.
No, shoot, man, we glad they made that call. We was all over here saying the same thing. Hey, man, what they waiting on, man? All right, no, why they playing these games? All right, now, y'all better not play again. It's the 32nd over. Hey, come on, man. What we waiting on? Send them a text. You know what time it is. Yeah.
And then, like, after the draft, they're like, you guys want to come back the next day? I was like, I'm going home. Like, I already booked my flight. We out. Ain't no coming back. Yeah, I was on that flight immediately.
No, that's dope, man.
Now, you cut out there for a second. Did you not trust the Steelers or think they were going to draft you because we passed on you in the first round?
I just, at that point of the draft, I didn't know what to expect. There was so much chaos going through the first picks that, like, people was getting picked that you didn't think will get picked, or just the draft is a madness in itself. You never really know till that day. So at that point, I was just already tired of the whole situation. I just wanted to go on the team.
So I'm assuming going into it, Steelers were probably on the top of your list of likely picks, right?
Yes and no. Like, I already knew the relationship I had with Coach Tomlin and the Steelers, obviously just being there for so long, but you just never want to get your hopes up on one spot. So that's what I'd never tried to focus on one team, like, oh, these guys text me more. I had a great meeting with them. It's really just the ball's not really in your court, so I just don't try to overthink it.
Nah, that's dope. That's a dope perspective to have, man. I wish I had that perspective when I went through it. I ain't gonna lie, I fell in love, man. I thought the Niners were gonna draft me in the first round, first overall pick. I was like, oh yeah, I know I'm getting drafted by them. And obviously, we know that ain't happened, man. So I wish I had your perspective back then. It would have made life way easier doing that process, man.
And that I got that from my dad, you know, because his
shout
draft story. He told me, he was like, yeah, he thought he was going to the Cowboys. They gave him a cell phone and everything. They called the number, and they didn't pick him. And he was like, yeah, man, just never have your heart sold on the team. So I was like, say no more.
No, shout out to Pops, man, for that right there. I mean, that's perfect that you brought him up, because I actually wanted to ask you, you know, we obviously know your name, Joey Porter Jr. We know who your dad is, man, Joey Porter Sr., man, an absolute legend within the Pittsburgh Steelers and NFL, man. What was that like, though, for you, man, in the sense of you saw this as a kid, man? We got a chance to see you in high school doing what you were doing while he was coaching. Then obviously you get to Penn State and everything like that. But then to come right back to where he became a legend. And now you're kind of living in this thing of, all right, it's his own shadow, but you're still creating your own name. Like, what has all that been like for you, man?
Man, it's been a full circle moment. You know, just being a kid, falling in love with the sport while in Pittsburgh, seeing him win the Super Bowl, being on the field, and then being able to put on the same jersey and get drafted on the same team. It's really still hard to believe and think about it, but it's a wild feeling. Like, I went to high school here. I have a house 10, 15 minutes from my parents.
This is crazy, man.
I get to go to my cousin's high school games and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I get to have that not a lot of people get to have coming into as a rookie. So I was very fortunate to land here. So yeah, it's a cool moment.
Did you ever envision it being like this, man, when you were growing up watching them, or even when you were playing in high school? Like, did you ever think hey, but you know, this could actually happen, man? Like, I think this could be this, man.
Yeah, for surely. I had my mind made up at a young age. This is what I was going to do. I didn't know how it was going to work out, but I knew I would be somewhere in the NFL playing.
Fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
He said, yo, I see what Pops do for a living. I'm doing that. All right. I'm
yeah. And I told him that, and we went to work ever since.
Yeah, that's fire.
Is the reality any different than some of the expectations you had?
No, I feel like everything what I thought it would be, it is. Just off the simple fact, like, I got to see it from my dad when he was playing, you know, just how the fans interact with you, how to prepare yourself for games, how to take care of your bodies. And just him being in my corner throughout the whole step, it was never really any surprise or any shock to the NFL lifestyle.
Now, how do you deal with the expectations or the hype with the last name being drafted by the Steelers, and us fans thinking you're like our franchise quarterback, you're going to be the guy for the next 10 years locking up top receivers? How do you deal with those expectations and hype?
I really don't think too much of them. You know, I really run. I run to the fight. That's the kind of mentality I have. I like those type challenges. I knew what the Steelers were doing when they picked me. They wanted a lockdown guy, and I feel like that's what I am, and that's what I try to bring to the table every time I step on the field. So I was always ready for those moments. Me and my dad always had a talk. We had a talk at a young age about having his last name, having his same first name, and just dealing with the pressure. And we already talked, if I'm doing everything I can, and my family and everybody's happy with me at the end of the day, then there's really no point of listening to the outside noise. So after that, having that talk with him, there was really no noise after that.